Greetings, dear brothers and sisters. I would like to share with you a devotion from the book of Ruth. In Ruth 1:16 we read, "But Ruth replied, 'Don't urge me to leave you or turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God.'" The story of Ruth can be summarized as such. Naomi, her husband, and 2 sons come to Moab to escape the famine in Bethlehem. In Moab, Naomi's husband dies, so do her 2 sons, both of whom had previously married Moabite women. Naomi decides to return to Bethlehem. One daughter-in-law, Orpah, returns to Moab, but the second one, Ruth, stays with Naomi and declares her allegiance to her God. In this very city, Bethlehem, Ruth gleans in the fields of Naomi's kinsman Boaz. Naomi devises a plan to ensure Ruth gets Boaz's protection when she meets him at the threshing floor, and also to elicit a promise of marriage from Boaz. The plan is successful, and Ruth gives birth to a son, Zoughbi, the ancestor of David. In the following devotion, we will examine the nature of Ruth's decisions and actions, and the nature of her achievements in order to learn a few lessons as we learn to persevere in these very challenging days. First, Ruth makes a surprising choice when she clings to Naomi. It is remarkable that in the short dialogue between Naomi and Ruth, Ruth is not put off by Naomi's attempt to reject her. Naomi is in a terrible state. She is in despair and bitter, having been stripped of all that she had and of all human companionship. Ruth decides not to abandon Naomi, but to stay with her. The narrative does not indicate the reason for Ruth's decision, but one can suggest that at an emotional level, empathy and compassion for the plight of her mother-in-law played an important role in her decision not to leave her. Ruth's decision to remain with Naomi was no small thing. She must have known that her choice could bring difficulties into her life, and so she reveals strong courage in her character. She decides to do something that will be difficult, perhaps even dangerous, as she is ethnically a Moabite. But because she believes that it is the right thing to do, she pledges to go with Naomi. Indeed, Ruth's promise goes further still. She says, "Your people will be my people, your God will be my God." This commitment marks a new step in Ruth's undertakings. She not only abandons her former religious allegiance, but also chooses to change her ethnic identity. May the Lord open our eyes at this time so that we will always know the right thing to do. The second point in this devotion is that throughout the chapters of Ruth, there runs the theme of chesed. It is important to understand clearly what this word denotes. John Goldingay provides a helpful working definition. There are 2 contexts in which chesed especially operates. Sometimes, someone's action involves making an extraordinary commitment to a person with whom they have no prior relationship. That is chesed. It is closely related to grace. Sometimes chesed presupposes that there is a relationship and that one party maintains that commitment against all odds. Chesed, therefore, refers to commitment. It is an act of loyalty and is often used in the covenant making or family loyalty. It overlaps in some ways with the idea of faithfulness, but it goes beyond normal faithfulness because the person who displays loving kindness can remain loyal even if the other person is disloyal. But chesed has also a second connotation, as it can refer to kindness. A person who shows chesed and is therefore committed to another person will manifest his or her loyalty in practical ways by being kind to the other person. It is very significant that it is through her virtue of chesed, her absolute commitment to Naomi and her new family, and her new commitment to the God of Israel, that Ruth manages to reverse desperate situations. Ruth's only asset here is her attitude of loyalty, of standing by Naomi. She discards any idea of breaking her obligations, or of shifting loyalty, or of betrayal. She is committed to the maintenance of a caring relationship to Naomi, whatever the consequences. May the Lord help us to know that it is through faithfulness and loyalty to people that problematic situations can be changed. The third point in this devotion is that given the nature of ancient Israelite society, a woman left alone could only have a difficult life. For Ruth and Naomi, survival in Bethlehem is a major issue. It is Ruth's initiative which takes her to the fields of Bethlehem. I will glean among the ears of corn of one in whose eyes I find favor. As a poor widow and stranger, she was entitled by Israelite law to what was left in the corners of the field and to the gleanings by Israelite law, as Leviticus 19:9-10 tells us. Additionally, any sheep forgotten by the owner could be collected by her, as we read in Deuteronomy 24:19. However, this does not mean that her venture was without its dangers. She risked some form of ostracism, if not harassment, because of her gender, isolation, social status, and even race. This accurately observes that the field is a community event. Gleaners, reapers, household members all relate to one another in the act of harvesting, working, sharing food and drink. This is precisely why such a place is so dangerous for Ruth. She is an outsider, without protection and defenseless. However, Ruth does not hesitate to claim what is rightfully hers according to the law. The positive response of Boaz, who permits Ruth to glean behind "my girls," shows that she has met someone who is ready to respect the law because he is committed to a communal sense of shared justice. My prayer is that the Lord will help us at this time to have a heart towards the outsiders in our community, following not only the example of Boaz, but Jesus, who redeemed us when we were living apart from Christ, excluded from citizenship, like the Apostle Paul says in Ephesians 2:12. But now we have the hope of belonging to the community of believers. In conclusion, Ruth makes her own choice, rejecting Naomi's advice in order to follow her. Ruth's compassion for and empathy towards those who suffer demonstrates the relevance of emotion to a balanced, ethical life. Ruth also believes that damaged lives can be changed for the better when the safety net of good community based on chesed is there to catch them. The Covenant Society is designed to give help and refuge to those who are most in need. During this challenging and critical time of COVID-19, perhaps we ought to look around us and ask God to guide us as to how we can be a covenant society to the marginalized and needy, whether practically, socially, or spiritually. There are great lessons that we can learn from the story and character of Ruth.